A visit to School of Hard Knocks. I love watching sportswomen. Unlike their male counterparts, it's not all about physique and rippling muscles. They possess something extra. Call it grace or empathy. There's a joyousness that often lightens their performance. Don't get me wrong, the steely will to win is there, just as much as in their male counterparts. The focus, the endurance, the risk-taking, the bravery. Think of gymnasts vaulting and spinning through the air. Think of the pain and weariness etched into the faces of endurance runners. The terrifying speed of cyclists descending alpine passes at up to 65 miles per hour. Can you imagine balancing on 1,100 pounds of thoroughbred racehorse, careering in a pack at speeds of up to 40 miles per hour? Yes, I especially admire female jockeys, and if I were to ask them, if you could go back in time to just one particular moment in your life, when would that be? What extraordinary stories they could tell. But first, let us imagine them as youngsters, all at the same school together, playing in the playground. The bell sounds for assembly. The boys push and shove to the front. The head teacher's eyes, surveying his pupils, fall on a dishevelled Michel Payne, who has just arrived late. "Payne," he admonishes, "you're late and your uniform is a mess." Michel retorts, "Sir, it's just 'cause my dad has a hard time looking after us 10 kids since my mum died." Teacher nods and proceeds with the roll call. Rachel Blackmore, present, sir. Nina Carberry, present, sir. Holly Doyle, present, sir. Bryony Frost, present, sir. Josephine Gordon, present, sir. Lizzie Kelly, present, sir. Julie Croner, present, sir. Michel Payne, present, sir. Victoria Pendleton, present, sir. Hayley Turner, present, sir. Katie Walsh, present, sir. First lesson of the day is history, and the teacher begins by asking each of the girls what they would like to be when they grow up. At the back of the class, Michelle's friend warned her, "Don't say you want to be a jockey." "Why ever not?" she replied. "I was reading about an English jockey called Jimmy Lindley," whispered her friend. When his teacher asked the class what they wanted to do when they started work, Jimmy put his hand up and said, "A jockey, sir." Willie Wilson, the head, said, "No, you're not." Jimmy replied, "I am, sir." For speaking back, Jimmy got 6 strokes on his bottom. Despite this tale, Michelle's reply to her teacher's question was, "When I grow up, I shall be a famous jockey and win the Melbourne Cup." Similar replies came from the other girls, and the lesson moved on to the history of women's rights. The teacher produced a picture of Emily Davison. "This English lady," she informed her pupils, "campaigned for women's rights, and particularly for the right to vote in public elections in the early 20th century. Tragically, she was killed while staging a protest at the Epsom Derby in 1913. She walked out onto the track and was hit by King George V's horse, Anma." As the girls digested this sombre event, the lesson ended. After break, they all filed back for a lesson on poetry. Today, announced their teacher, we will be studying a poem by Rudyard Kipling, If. If what, miss? Pipes up Julie Kroner. Teacher allows herself a smile. If is a poem by Rudyard Kipling, which epitomizes the qualities that most athletes and sportsmen and women are familiar with. If you can meet with triumph and disaster, and treat those two impostors just the same. These are lines written on the walls of two prestigious tennis venues, the Players' Entrance to the Centre Court at Wimbledon Lawn Tennis Club and at the West Side Tennis Club in Forest Hills, New York. If you wish to make a success of your lives, the teacher concluded, you will do well to remember them. And so, in due course, the girls all left to embark on their chosen careers, and to discover just how hard is the path of a female jockey in a man's world. Most sportswomen will only compete against their own sex, but horse riding is the sole physical sport where women take on men on equal terms. For while more than half of the people entering racing schools are women, only 14% of jockeys in Britain are female, says Women in Racing chair Tallulah Lewis. In 2018, they got 8.2% of the rides, but only 1% at the top group or grade 1 level. So the interest is there, but certainly something is stopping them reaching the top. The female jockey needs to prove herself even better than the men, just to get rides on the best horses. As Lily Kelly once said, trainers don't use girls, and it is never going to change. It is a fact that a jockey is more at risk of injury riding the less able horses. So it is all the more remarkable when female riders manage to rise above this glass ceiling. The trainer, Ted Walsh, father of champion jump jockeys Ruby and Katie, throws some light on how women achieve this when he spoke bluntly about the differences. Women are stronger people than men mentally. Men arse kick a bit and women don't. The real strong women say, F off. Observing the careers of the pupils who attended our fictional school of hard knocks, I'm in awe of how they cope with the dangers they face on a daily basis, and sometimes the awful injuries they sustain. Holly Doyle was unseated in a race at Haydock and suffered facial injuries, including the loss of several teeth. She returned to race riding after 10 days. Julie Kroner, in the 2003 season, she fractured 2 bones in her lower back and spent the next 4 months recovering. Just weeks after Breeders' Cup win, she broke several ribs and suffered severe muscle tears in a fall at Hollywood Park Racetrack. Kroner was named by USA Today as one of the 10 toughest athletes and was honored with the Wilma Rudolph Courage Award by the Women's Sports Foundation. Haley Turner was badly injured in an accident putting a horse through starting stalls. Michelle Payne, in 2004, Payne fell heavily at a race in Sandown Racecourse in Melbourne, fracturing her skull and bruising her brain. In 2016,